Hey guys, welcome back to Rail Chief 74 and welcome to another episode here on the channel. Now as we go into today's video, I want to welcome everybody aboard to the fall edition of Layout Update number 29. Now as we walk into today's layout update, we have a lot to cover, so we're really going to be here for quite a while in today's episode. So as always, we'll start our way all the way through the back. We'll walk around the perimeter of the layout and we'll kind of play it by ear. And as a bonus, I did have some help in deciding on what type of buildings and structures that I wanted to change throughout the entire layout. But again, we're going to get into all that a little bit later. So without further ado, let's hop right to it. As always with any other layout update that I do here on the channel, we might as well go ahead and talk about the smallest areas of the layout, which I don't necessarily normally talk about for these layout updates. But again, I think they are definitely worth mentioning for today's episode. So if we take a look all the way down here below the trolley line on the main level, we have this little wooden bridge, which I kind of handcrafted myself and slid into place underneath the track here to not only make it feel a little bit more leveled with the track bed, but because the bridge is as wide or as long as it is, I should say, it wasn't really going to be that long enough for me to bridge the gap between the two sections of track bed that I had here on this side, as well as on the other side where the bridge ends. So what I did was I cut up a few strips of black craft foam and I slid them underneath the ties to, again, not only make sure that they were more leveled with the bridge, but also to hide the pink that was sticking out from the styrofoam. And because the bridge is so small, I now unlocked the potential for me to run a much larger locomotive through this loop without smacking into the bridge entirely, or even derailing for that matter. I'm now going to move the camera back just above the layout slightly to not only give you guys a much better view of the layout down below here on the left side, but to also share with you all some slight minor details that I decided to swap around without wasting a whole lot of time. So right up here on the trolley line, as you guys all might remember, there used to be a little extension that just kind of stuck out here like a sore thumb. So I decided to cut all of that back and to cover it up. And mainly because it didn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to extend the trolley line up here even further. And even if I did that, I would kind of block off a lot of this important detail in the center, all the way in the back of the freight station and the blockbuster and the oil derrick and all that. So I think just leaving it just as is just works a whole lot better, for at least in my opinion. And down below on the bottom level, right near where the road is located, I even had the Plasticville post office here originally, but I decided to move that towards the front of the layout, which I'll get back to a little bit later. So in the meantime, I just have the Plasticville fire station taking its place, and also mainly because I think it fits a whole lot better into the cityscape here. Right where the factory used to be located, I even moved the junkyard to this area, so that way we can not only take a better look through the fencing to watch the train go around the curve, but also considering that we also do have the spotlight tower located behind the track here, if we go ahead and run the trains in the dark late at night with all the lights turned off, the only lights that we would be getting through the junkyard is the lighting coming from the spotlight tower here. Over by the freight station, we have some slight minor adjustments made to it, including this little freight station platform extension, which I handcrafted myself. And again, I wanted to paint everything brown to better match the platform on the freight station yet again. And it's not an exact copy, but if you look at it from a distance away, you won't even notice the difference. And coming out from underneath the station, we got the engineer who has his little lubricator on hand. And then finally, down below here, we got two little additional workers who are carefully assisting this little mystery box down to the lower level. As we fast forward to the present, here we are in the center of town. And just by the looks of it, the MTH train store has been completely removed. And in the meantime, I just kind of have this big open space with the pink styrofoam that's sticking out, along with the two additional wires that I had hooked up to the train store, including a red one and a black one. And everything else is still pretty much the same. We got the general store on the right, and here all the way on the left on the other side of the road, we got the roadside diner along with the little Bethany Blues flag, which I attached to the sidewalk. And again, I'm still kind of processing and kind of brainstorming some ideas as we speak. So until I can figure out what to put in this area, you guys are just going to have to stay tuned for the next layout update. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the layout. As for the main layout, looking all the way back from this area, we can really see that there have been some slighter adjustments made to most of the buildings that I have here in the collection. Now, over in this section here where the bank used to be, we now have an area that is dedicated to all the Plasticville buildings that I've acquired over the years, as well as all of the Plasticville structures that my dad also had when he was growing up. Here on this side, all the way on the left, it's a little hard to tell, but we now have the Coca-Cola billboard located in the town area here. So let's go ahead and move that or twist that back on over. And right next to it, we of course have the Plasticville United States Post Office, which was originally located on the second layout. But again, keeping the theme all the way in this area dedicated to Plasticville, I wanted to make sure that everything was complementing each other to a T. And again, the Plasticville post office was no exception. And I'm also going to be adding some street lights to the sidewalk that I have here in the center. It's just basically two strips of wood planks that I have here to resemble a sidewalk. And I'm eventually going to have to paint all this, but you know, that's a story for a different topic. So why don't we go ahead and keep moving around, and I'll share with you guys the center of the layout, and we'll move into the other part of the town area, which is located on the other side, and then we'll round off everything from there. As we walk around the block, around the outer lip of the layout, here in the center of the main train table, we do see some even more bigger changes. And with a little help from my dad, we were able to kind of walk around and discuss about what type of buildings we wanted to swap out and which ones we wanted to adjust. And we were really happy with the center of the layout because here, as you see it, we have not only the First City Bank, but we also do have the train store, which have been both relocated to the center of the layout yet again. Down below, we even have a little add-on to the roadway with a little extra strip of cereal box cardboard that has been, you know, repainted to match the other pieces here to make it look like a road. And if we go ahead and turn the camera around towards the other side here, all the way on the left next to the train store here, we have a truck that's being unloaded by a little forklift, and they're getting ready to restock the train store as we speak. All the way on the right, we even have a couple of other tchotchkes that have been reshuffled and also added to the center of the circle here. Taking the place of the 140 banjo signal, we have the 155 ringing signal, which I was very happy and fortunate enough to work on for this year. So now it's finally back to its fully operating condition. Right next to the signal, we even do have a custom-made Stewart's restaurant, which again, I handcrafted myself. And this actually makes it the third building or third structure that I created myself on the layout here, along with the junkyard and the Blockbuster. And again, this is actually a very special thanks to my dad for suggesting the idea to me. So Dad, thank you again. Here in the center of the circle, we even do have some of the street lights like the ones that I showed you earlier before. We got a Santa Fe billboard, and in the front we got a father and a son playing a game of catch. Here between the two main lines, we have the God, I can't even speak today. We have the 253 automatic block signal, which is just sitting here for the time being. We got the freight station, we got the dog show. We even do have the pond and the bridge, which is, again, all Plasticville. And then finally, going all the way into the corner of the layout, we have the roadside diner, which I relocated to this area as well. And I even added the billboard and a couple of trees behind here to somewhat hide the lip of the entire layout. And then finally, we of course have the telephone pole, which of course goes to the 3530 generator car. And now before we go ahead and move on to the final segment of the video, let me go ahead and share with you all a couple of honorable mentions. We're now going to go ahead and take a look at our last area of the layout. On the left, as you see it, we have the post-war 282 gantry crane, which I'll get back to in just a second. And on the right, all the way in the corner where the junkyard used to be, we have the K-line factory, which has been also reassembled. And even the lighting underneath the roof here has also been reassembled as well. Now sometimes this little flap here kind of gets a little stuck. But as you see it, we have a brand new strip of LED lights, which is currently under the roof. And not to mention that there is maybe at least one or two parts that are missing, such as the door going into the factory on the side here. But thankfully, York is going to be coming up in another couple of weeks or so. So hopefully, once the show comes around, I'll be able to find a replacement door to put on this side. And then down below, we even have some of the workers who are just kind of wandering about and just kind of doing what needs to be done. We got a guy on the platform here who is walking a pallet back on the inside. And we even have some of the culverts and canisters lining along the outside of the factory. And now with our last bit, we're going to go ahead and share with you all the 282 gantry crane in action for this demonstration. Because again, I'm still working on the magnets, so in the meantime, I just got it hooked underneath the boom here. So for now, I'm just kind of fiddling around with the hook. And as you see by the canisters here, I got a couple of these binder clips which have been magnetized to the top of the canisters. So if you guys guessed it, we are going to be using the hook to pick up the clip binders and to move the canisters throughout around this area of the layout. And down below underneath the crane, this is a specialized custom-made wooden track which me and my dad had developed and put together for this demonstration. So now, if we go ahead and push the crane back and forth, actually let me go ahead and move the boom around here just for a moment. But if we move the crane back and forth, as you see, it rolls through the track nice and smoothly without scraping up against the wood on the table here. Well, that's all the time that we had for today's episode. As always, my name is Mike. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell down below to get notified for any other projects that I upload here. And as always, if you all have enjoyed watching today's video, be sure to give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And until we all meet again, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you all next time. Oops.